What are the largest investment banks in the world saying about silver and gold? JP Morgan, Chase. What about UBS, the big Swiss banker? What are they saying we should expect from the gold price and the silver price as we head through this year? But even more important, are you being lied to? Are we being, I don't really understand what the term means, but gaslighted? Are we being brainwashed right now? Because if you notice, there seems to be a recent coordinated effort on behalf of what some people, this is not a political show, but what some people might call the liberal media, to convince you that the economy is doing great. There was an article I get every morning from the New York Times this morning. Let me just give you this headline, and I found it very interesting. And then I have even more. I think they're trying to brainwash us, guys, into thinking that the economy's great. Okay, here. The New York Times. The New York Times. That's right. Sophisticated newspaper. Good morning. We're covering Americans' gloomy views of the economy. Blah, blah, blah. Plus New Hampshire. Here. An economic mystery. I want to ask you, is this a mystery to you? By many measures, the U.S. economy is strong right now. Unemployment is near its lowest point in decades. Inflation has slowed down. Wages have grown faster than prices since last year. Stock prices are surging. But many Americans, does this include you? I'm asking you. It includes me, I'll be honest, are not feeling it and say the economy is in bad shape. The persistent pessimism has baffled many economists. Okay, so the New York Times is asking you, what's wrong with you, America? What's wrong with you? They're asking me that too, because I'm in that. What's wrong? Why would you be frustrated or pessimistic about the economy? Everything's great, right? Everything's wonderful. And then they go through this whole big list. Inflation's better, or inflation, housing costs. Oh, then they start to point out that inflation, well, prices haven't really come down. Housing costs, you can't afford. If you know any kids, and I guess I can call them kids now, you're probably around, I'm 53, kids in their 20s that are trying to buy a house right now, it's hard, man. It was hard when I was in our 20s, but now these kids, it's darn near impossible for them to even think about getting a house. No normalcy. Asymmetric polarization. They're blaming it on the Democrat-Republican thing. The Republicans are pessimistic just because there's a Democrat in office. Bad news bias. The news media presents everything as being bad, blah, blah, blah. So there's this whole, feels like, I mean, the New York Times, we know, right? And we know what a bad economy means for silver and gold. And don't you worry, we're going to get to what the big Swiss banker said about gold and silver. We're going to get to what JP Morgan says about gold and silver. We're going to get there, but we need to make sure we're not getting like a dose of brainwashing, it feels like, from the media. Okay? Because then, you know, I don't know how you do in the morning, but I'm just not the most optimistic guy. I wake up in the morning, I'll be dead honest, you know, hey, I cried on the live stream yesterday. I'm an anxious person. I always have been, and I'm very anxious in the morning. It seems to mellow throughout the day, but I wake up and I have morning mind, and I'm always thinking of all the things I have to do. And well, anyway, next thing I hear is this morning, Susie gets her coffee, turns on the Today Show, and there's this whole segment on the Today Show. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I said, rewind that. On the Today Show, they're talking about how great the economy is, how wonderful things are. Right? I mean, the Fed's never going to have to cut rates, right? The gold and silver price will never go higher for us. The Today Show, Savannah Guthrie, who I used to have a little bit of a crush on. Susie knows that. Anyway, she's talking. I never questioned my love for Susie, but I used to think I like Savannah Guthrie. She's funny. Anyway, she's talking about how great the economy is. They have this lady on, I don't write her name down, some expert, right? They're talking about how we're in a, hey, welcome. They talked about gold, as a matter of fact. Okay. Yeah, on the Today Show. You know what they said? They said, Goldilocks. We're in a Goldilocks economy. Welcome to a Goldilocks economy. And then I about fell out of my chair because the lady says, prices are coming down. Eggs are cheaper. I was like, hallelujah. I mean, I eat eggs, not that often, but we eat eggs. Every once in a while, Susie makes scrambled eggs. I'm like, so we're supposed to be happy because the price of eggs have come down. What's wrong with you, Americans? I'm telling you, I think there's a possibility. There's a coordinated effort. Envision a tinfoil hat on my head to convince us that the economy is good. The economy is strong. Why would you say that it's a difficult economy? Everything's great. As long as you're part of the 1%, you're doing wonderful. The economy's not doing well. Okay, we know it's all a mirage. It's a monetary mirage. What has been going on, and when it all comes, when all the hens, we talk about eggs, all right. When all the hens come home to roost, I know what's going to happen. More monetary mirage, more modern monetary theory, MMT, more. Have you seen this clip going around about this MMT lady saying that debt is good? It's a way to measure our assets. That guy Yankee Stacking had it on a video. I mean, it's like bizarre thinking. It's funhouse. It's crazy what is going on in the economy. And they're trying now, again, envision a tinfoil hat on my head. They're trying to convince us that the economy is good. Could that have something to do with the election coming up? I'm not saying I think that's the case. I'm just throwing that one out there, okay? And have these people, right, have they tried to buy a house? Have they tried to pay the bills on a house? The homeowner's insurance, the electric bill, have you, right? What about a car? Have they tried to pay their car insurance? Oh, I know. And then the lady says, and gas prices are down. Well, gas is still around St. Louis here, like $3 a gallon or more. You're telling me prices are down? No, and people's incomes aren't up. Maybe there's some isolated circumstances, but people's incomes aren't up. This economy is not good. And at the end of the day, what's going to happen, okay? Again, it's all a big mirage. It's all fantasy land. It's all funny money. It's all unicorn fart dust. It's all paper. It's all debt. It's all whatever you want to call it. When the hens come home to roost, the only thing they're going to be able to do is liquidate everything, right? Inject liquidity into everything, dilute the currency, print more money. And they can't print more silver and gold. Now, speaking of silver and gold, let's start talking about the meat of the matter. Let's start with UBS. UBS is a massive, do you want to hear what they say about precious metals? UBS is a massive 150-year-old Swiss banker, okay? Swiss bank, right? So we're going to listen to what they say. And the big banks are never biased towards higher silver and gold prices. If you want to get your hands on some silver, gold, maybe platinum right now, please consider checking our channel sponsor, Pimbex, Pimbex, online bullion dealer. You'll find they always have great selection, great service, and the best prices around. Look, I don't tell anyone what to do. I'll tell you what I do, right? I work with Pimbex. I encourage you, next time you're out looking to buy some silver, gold, or platinum, throw them into the mix. I think you'll find what I found. Pimbex is best in that you will get more metal for your money. Thank you, Ron McAdams. The emperor has no clothes. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Ron. Thank you for the super chat. Don't forget also, if you're ever going to consider converting a IRA to precious metals, sure, you can talk to the company that hires the old movie stars on Fox News and, all that. Absolutely talk to the people at Pimbex as well, okay? I know, but you need to find out for yourself. You'll discover, again, even with an IRA conversion, you're very likely to get a lot more metal for your money with Pimbex. Now, let's talk about UBS. I missed a text. Oh, boy. Hey, guys. Yes, please. Thumbs up. We got 250 people. Man, we are a growing tribe, a clan. We are the silver and gold enthusiast. All of us, you are the most important part of this group. So thank you for being here. Thank you. All right, let's talk about UBS. Giant Swiss bank, right? Remember Swiss bank accounts? I grew up in the 80s. You would always hear about Swiss bank accounts. The big Swiss banker, UBS. UBS sees a 10% spike for gold this year as rate cut speculation swirls. Okay, let's dig into this a little bit because there's some very interesting points they make. Gold prices have slipped to begin 2024. I know I keep saying 2023. When I say 2023, I usually mean 2024. Nonetheless, this has been a bad start to the year for the gold price and the silver price. Not devastating. We aren't like on the ropes. We're still hanging in there. Before I came on, gold was up $4 an ounce. Silver was up 1%. Okay, we're not being killed, right? But we've been beaten pretty bad to start the year. The mining stocks have been decimated. I've lost a lot of money in mining stocks. I haven't sold any, right? But I've lost a lot of paper money, more than I'd already lost in mining stocks. So it's been a tough start to the year, okay? But according to UBS, quote, the power of the Fed's policy pivot. I missed a super chat. Did I miss a super chat? I apologize if I missed a super chat. Super chats are super appreciated. Sorry, I need to move this paper. I'm doing the best I can. And I appreciate you and all your understanding, okay? The power of the Fed's policy pivot should not be underestimated, according to UBS. So the fact that the Fed, let's take a step back here, guys. Let's take a step back here, all right? Look at the big picture. We're kind of in this little focus zone when it comes to silver and gold price lately. And I understand, like we already talked about, it's been a difficult start to the year. You're not alone, okay? We aren't getting killed, but we're getting beat. But let's take a look at the big picture. Hey, thank you, STP Trader. Ring the bell. All right, we're going to look at the big picture. I do whatever STP Trader tells me to do. Seat of the pants. That's what that stands for, by the way. Let's ring the bell 10 times. And 2 more for STP Trader for that $2 super chat. Big picture, right? I know we're in Crudville, especially if you own mining stocks, but big picture for the Fed. Hey, we can't let Joe hear this. The Fed pivoted back in December. The Fed pivoted. The Fed changed the environment in which we are living. The sun came out. It rained after a long drought, right? Things are different. That's the big picture. The Fed pivoted. And they wouldn't have done that if they knew that they weren't going to be lowering rates in 2024. If they knew, right, that everything was just hunky-dory in the economy, they wouldn't have done it, right? There's a reason why Good Morning America and the New York Times is trying to convince you that the economy's good. There's something wrong with you. What's wrong with you, right? No, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. The economy is difficult, right? So the Fed knows the Fed's going to pivot, and when they do, oh boy, that will be nice breeze coming into the sales of the silver and gold ship. And by the way, there's only a few seats left on that silver and gold ship. Now, let's be real about silver, guys. Let's be real here. I saw a headline. I didn't dig into it. There's only so much. I had to play basketball with my daughter. But anyway, that one of these coin shop guys that's always on YouTube was saying that sales are down 75% for silver. Okay, so there's a few more seats on the silver boat. It's not a big boat still, right? Maybe we had 20% of the seats open 2 months ago. Now maybe we have 30% there, but it's still a small boat. And when that breeze catches our sails and the silver boat starts to sail off into the distance, and all those people on the beach are like, wait a minute, I want a seat. We're already going to be on it because there's only so many seats. I digress, me and my crazy analogies or stories. I don't know what those are called, okay? A UBS note that came out on Friday. So this is already, 4 days old, described recent price moves as minor, meaning the pullback in silver and gold. In the context of the precious metals 15% climb, referring to gold in 2023, and said that, quote, the power of the Federal Reserve's policy pivot should not be underestimated. They repeated that. Okay, worth repeating. Bullion remains above the psychological. They're playing with us psychologically. $2,000 per ounce price for gold. And UBS strategists said forecasting, are you ready? Here's what they're forecasting. A rise to $2,250 per ounce by the end of the year. You know, that's code for $2,600 gold, because once we get back above 2,100, 2,150, right? We were only above 2,100 for what, 15 minutes that Sunday night? Once we get above 2,100 and stay there for a week or two, people are going to come rushing in. And we're going to talk a little bit later more about the metals and how what's going to happen when people come rushing back in. Okay. Markets are, this is interesting. Okay. Oh, yeah, guys, please give this. I forgot to beg you. This is the beg, 20 seconds, if you would, please. Give this a thumbs up. That helps get the word out to more people, more basement dwellers. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the basement, it's just a number we watch, but it like means a lot for our hearts. And I'll put out a new piece of content every day for the rest of my life. You got a new friend for life, please consider subscribing to Ron's Basement. We got 350 people here together right now. Thank you for being here. It's a big deal on behalf of myself, Susie, all the moderators. Thank you. Let's talk about the Fed, because things are changing now. This is getting interesting, and I'm going to tell you why about the Fed and rate cuts. Markets are increasing. Excuse me. Hold on a second. I know you guys love when I have coughing attacks on when I'm on the air. Markets are increasingly uncertain that the Fed will begin interest rate cuts in March. The Fed's not going to cut rates. Is the market becoming a little bipolar? What if the Fed doesn't cut rates in March? Don't forget, the Fed does have a meeting. I believe they'll make their most recent upcoming announcement on January 31st. But nobody thinks anything's going to happen there. Now, everybody's looking out to March. March was the month when they were going to start cutting rates, but now that's changing. Current pricing drops the probability at around 48%, so less than a 50% chance that the Fed is going to cut rates in March. According to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange's FedWatch tool, down from as high as 81% just a week ago. So in 1 week, things have gotten so great in the world, in the economy, that the odds of a rate cut in March have dropped from over 80% to below 50%. Interesting. Then you know what? That's okay. That's with two key releases on U.S. fourth quarter economic growth and personal consumption expenditures. The personal consumption expenditures price index still to come this week. Well, that's okay that the odds of a Fed rate cut are going down, because then as they go, and gold is holding above 2,000 per ounce, because then as we move closer and they do have to cut rates, that will be downward pressure on the U.S. dollar, which, by the way, before I came on here, the DXY index was at 103.5. That will be downward pressure on the U.S. dollar, which will be supportive for the silver and gold price. Remember that boat that's sitting there on the beach, the sailboat? That's the gold and silver boat. It's waiting for that breeze to pick up, right? The breeze stopped blowing it into shore. Now it's waiting for the breeze, and that breeze will be rate cuts by the Fed. The U.S. dollar going down. 10-year bond rates going down. Watch it. It's going to happen. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Okay. Gold hit several record highs last year and notched a record close of $2,078 per ounce, according to the World Gold Council. Analysts tied the rise to interest rate expectations and the global volatility stemming from the Israel-Hamas conflict. And now, right? Let's just briefly touch on this, okay? Because that whole article is great. Thank you, UBS, our Swiss bankers, telling us we're going to have $2,250 gold by the end of the year, which we know is code for $2,600 gold. Guess what? They're not even talking about. They don't even know what they're talking about, those fancy Swiss bankers, because they forgot to mention one of the other key driving components to the silver price and the gold price, and that is geopolitical turmoil, which is getting worse and worse. Look, I can't keep on track of all of what's going on, but what I'm hearing is that like Russian oil supplies are being attacked. I know one of their big LNG, liquid natural gas ports was recently attacked. The world is becoming more and more dangerous. And ask yourself, right, what does that do for the silver price and the gold price as the world becomes more and more in conflict? It's happening right now. It's happening in Europe with Ukraine. It's happening in the Middle East. I mean, what's the other big headline I see this morning? That the U.S. attacks the Houthis again. I mean, it's hard to keep all this straight. Hamas, Houthis, Israel, Lebanon, Iran, Ukraine, Russia, China. Isn't it getting a little bit obvious that geopolitically we've got big issues? And guys, there's absolute, at the end of the day, right, we get a lot of symptoms. Oh, the dollar went down, the dollar went up. You hear all these reasons why silver and gold, all this static, right? At the end of the day, the core, those are symptoms. The core root of what supports the silver and gold price, right, are its ability to maintain value in any environment. We haven't talked about this one for a while, Buttercup. Do you guys like when I call you Buttercup? I've got a nephew named Matthew who I call Buttercup. It's a term of endearment. So buckle up, Buttercup, right? Because we know silver and gold have seen all of this before. All of it. It seems new to you, doesn't it? Doesn't it all feel new? This situation that you are in right now, in this world right now, right? War in Ukraine, war in the Middle East, a government that has blown 34 trillion of you and your offspring's dollars, right? All this craziness going on. It's all new to you. It's all new to me. But guess who it's not new to? Yeah, right. This guy here. Look here, Mr. 10 ounce. Let's all say hi to Mr. 10 ounce, right? Huh? Yeah. It's not new to him. They've seen this show many times. I almost knocked my water over. That would have been a disaster. I cried yesterday and I spilt water. Anyway, it's not new to them. They're prepared, okay? They're prepared. Here, let me show you this real quick. Where is it? Here it is. That's a 10-ounce silver Geiger bar from Germany. That's part of a giveaway we're doing on Valentine's Day that you can learn about in the description of this and every video I have. It's not new to that, right? That 10 ounces of silver. Silver's been money longer than gold. Don't forget that. Very, very, very important. So as everything gets nuts, okay? And let's talk about more nuts. Let's talk about something more nutty, okay? The United States stock market, all you had to do, and I'm mad about this and sad, okay? All you had to do if you wanted to get rich over the last 20 years is buy Apple stock, buy tech stock, right? Because they just went up and up and up and up. And now the U.S. stock market, thanks to the magnificent, is at all-time highs. All you had to do was buy an S&P 500 ETF. People that know nothing about investing, nothing, have gotten filthy rich, while people that really dug in, like you and I, and learned about things like silver and gold, and especially precious metal mining stocks, have suffered, okay? I've suffered. All right, we would have been better off set it and forget it, like the crock pot. Buy Apple and forget about it. Apple computer stock always goes up, all right? Xerox didn't always go up. IBM didn't. Enron, anyway, nonetheless, I digress. What's crazy, we got the U.S. stock market at all-time highs. Silver is struggling, right? Gold's doing okay, but think about this. Do you know what's going on in China with their stock market? It is in a state of free fall. Well, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but the Chinese stock market is plummeting and the government is stepping in. Now, oh, that's China. I know. No, China's the second biggest economy in the world. To think that in the biggest economy in the world, the stock market's at all-time highs. The second biggest economy in the world, the stock market is crumbling, and that the government is taking emergency measures. Does that not compute? That doesn't compute for me. Okay, and at the same time, you've got silver that's struggling. You've got gold that is within spitting distance of an all-time high or a stone's throw, nonetheless, right? And you've got precious metal mining stocks that are worse off than the Chinese stock market. The precious metal mining stock, none of this makes sense. It's because everything has been manipulated and screwed up beyond all recognition. We're going to talk about J.P. Morgan, and I got some news for you about Costco and silver, okay? But first, another sign that the economy is doing so great. Look, I was wrong about the Ford F-150 Lightning. When I saw that thing and started reading about it a year and a half, 2 years ago, and even a year ago, I was like, that's going to be crazy. Guys, as a sign of how crazy bad the U.S. economy is, how this whole electric vehicle thing is imploding right now, Ford Motor Company is basically, I don't think they've shut it down, but they have a massive factory outside of Detroit. It used to be called River Rouge. It's fascinating. I've watched documentaries about it. They built this whole new thing for this electric pickup truck, right? The Ford F-150 is like Ford's bread and butter. It's where they make all their money on their pickup trucks. They built this massive new plant to build the Ford F-150 Lightning. I remember when the commercials first came out, and the guy was like, the power went out at his house and he plugged his house into his pickup truck and the house lit up. And I was like, this is going to be huge. Nobody's buying the Ford F-150 Lightning. They were talking to a Ford dealer in New Jersey. I think it was Fox News. I watched a clip last night, and she was very honest. She's like, nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Okay? The hottest, newest thing that's supposed to deliver us nobody wants it. They're like, I think they're still running one shift at the Ford plant, but nobody wants it. Okay? Nobody. So to think that this economy is doing so great, I thought the Ford F-150, but then I looked, do you know how much a Ford F? Who knows? Who can guess? And you can guess in $10,000 increments, okay? Hey guys, thank you. Oh, we got 200 thumbs up. Okay, while I ring the bell, I want you to guess what price, and no cheating, okay? No Googling. What price does the Ford F-150 Lightning start at? All right, and you can guess in $10,000 increments. I'm going to ring the bell. We got 200 thumbs up. Woo-hoo! All right, who guessed 50? I said $10,000 increments, Bob Brown. Not 100. Dave Metcalf, too high. Craig Edmonds, too high. I was shocked where it started. Sassy Silver, too high. Coin Shop Chris, too high. Bernard, too high. Ann, too high. Count Derpula, too high. I know. Come on, somebody's going to get it. Annie Oakley, too high. Wayne, too high. Lightning caught fire. Yeah, too high. Carl, too high. Dennis, too high. Lone Wolf, too high. Zachary Cook, you got it. It starts at $50,000, which shocked me. I really thought, because you hear about these pickup trucks cost like $100K now. So I thought, well, the Ford Lightning is going to be $100K. No, a Ford Lightning starts at $50,000. That's according to the Google research I did before I came on here, the extensive research that we put into this and it's not selling. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants the electric pickup truck. I mean, it's mind-boggling. All right, we got to talk about J.P. Morgan Chase. Let's do that. Let's also say thank you to channel sponsor Fortuna Silver Mines. They're traded on the New York Stock Exchange and the Toronto Stock Exchange. They're a global gold and silver producer. They make this live stream possible. They make the channel possible, both Fortuna Silver and Pembex. If you want to learn more about Fortuna Silver, go to fortunasilver.com. There's a lot of great information, and they're doing a lot of great things. And like all the precious metal mining stocks, the price has been beat down. Look, I'm not giving financial advice to anyone. All right. Stocks are risky. Bank accounts are risky. Everything's risky. But right now, the precious metal mining stocks present some really great value opportunities. And that includes channel sponsor Fortuna Silver. And I think they have some other attributes that make them stick out above the peers. They've got some great things going on with that company. FortunaSilver.com. All right, we got 450 people, guys. Thank you for being here. This is awesome. Let's talk about JP Morgan. I don't know. What do you think? Like, because JP Morgan is the big manipulator of the silver price and the gold price. I want to get that guy, Ted Butler, on here to talk to him. He's the one that pointed out that, like, over the last couple years, we've had 400 million ounces of silver drained from the SLV ETF and from the COMEX inventories, and that's where all the silver's coming from that is supplying this massive silver deficit. That's why we haven't seen the price of silver go up yet, right? So nonetheless, JP Morgan has been the one. I mean, we got to kind of, when we're talking about what JP Morgan is saying to the public about silver and gold, maybe we need to be just a little suspicious. Hey, one thing you don't need to be suspicious of is the great moderator team we have here in the basement. We've got the top-notch team. They are great. If you wouldn't mind, type 8 for great for the moderate, for those that moderate, and then we're going to get right into JP Morgan Chase. I'm going to type it. All right, let's go. Uh-oh, here it is. JP Morgan himself. JP Morgan. I guess there really was a guy named JP. JP Morgan. Excuse me. It's like when people talk about Leonard Skinner and say him. It's like, no, Leonard Skinner's a band. I'm thinking it's really a person. Anyway, JP Morgan boosts its 2024 projections for gold investments and Fed rate cuts. Let's read. This is from Kitco, an article. This guy puts out a lot of great stuff. Ernest Hoffman. I want to make sure I credit him. I'm going to read a couple of the key points about what JP Morgan is saying about the metals, and we're going to talk about what we think it really means, right? That's what we're trying to do. What does this really mean? And I don't know. This is just, I'm having this overwhelming feeling right now, right? For me, it's silver. I feel the same way about gold, although I'm not a physical gold investor, but what it really means is like, man, that silver you own, that silver that I own, right? This 10-ounce bar, right? That is real. That is real. I had some paper money down here. I guess I need to keep some here. Here. Whatever happened to Richard Cooper, right there? That's the dollar. See that? Yeah. That's the dollar. Silver and gold are real, right? Really, do you think, I don't know, do you think 50 years from now, what's going to be worth more? This is wrapped in plastic. It might last longer. Or that paper money that you might have sitting in your wallet right now. Euros, yen, dollars. What's real? All right, JP Morgan. Talking about what's real, baby. All right. Economic and geopolitical uncertainty tend to be positive drivers for gold. Economic and geopolitical uncertainty, which is widely seen as a safe haven asset due to its ability to remain a reliable store of value. It has low correlation. That means it's low correlation with other asset classes. So, it can act as an insurance during falling markets and times of geopolitical stress. Do we have falling markets right now? No, we have the market at an all-time high. It's crazy. It really is absolutely crazy. Okay? Do we have geopolitical stress? Yes. What's the path of least resistance for the U.S. market down? Okay. A weaker U.S. dollar and a lower U.S. interest rate also increases the appeal of non-yielding bullion. The analyst pointed out that that anticipation of a Fed pivot, this is J.P. Morgan, played a key role in gold's recent price rally, as it has over the last three price. Okay, this is where we get interesting. We're going to talk about the pullback. We're going to talk about their prediction for gold, which also relates directly to the silver price and the central banks. Okay, it says, quote, across all metals, we have the highest conviction on a bullish medium-term forecast for both gold and silver. Over the course of 2024, gold and silver, most bullish, JP Morgan, Chase, okay, and into the first half of 2025. Let's hope JP Morgan Chase is better at predicting the future than Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve was at predicting when they were going to raise interest rates, which really was supposed to be starting right now. But I digress. What I just read you in rather fast fashion is the fact that JP Morgan is positive on gold and silver all the way through the first half of 2025. That is about, 17 months now of good times we have ahead for us. Okay. That was Gregory Shearer, head of base and precious metal strategies at JP Morgan. Okay. Quote, at the moment, gold still appears quite rich relative to underlying rates and foreign exchange fundamentals, and still looks vulnerable to another modest retreat in the near term, as the Fed rate cut expectations are now running earlier than our forecast. So he's saying we might get a pullback, right? But that doesn't change the overall outlook. Mr. Shearer added that any price pullbacks in the coming months should be treated as buying opportunities ahead of a breakout rally, which they expect to begin in mid-2024. Well, they're making us wait a little while. Okay. As U.S. GDP growth slows, falling yields will drive gold prices to new nominal highs in the second half of 2024. This is where they put their prediction out, averaging $2,175 per ounce in Q4, and they expect quarterly average peak of $2,300 per ounce in Q3 of 2025. That's 18 months from now, okay? The analysts predict central bank buying will continue to support gold prices through 2024, while positive net ETF flows will finally return in the year. That's the missing. Do you know the missing piece, right? Especially with silver, specifically, exclusively, but also with gold. That's the missing piece, guys. That's the answer. I've never been to a what are those called? Puzzle rooms. Those rooms where you get locked in, you got to answer a bunch of questions. I have a buddy, Slick Willie, owns a building. They got but anyway, that's the missing piece to the puzzle. There's a missing piece, right? That we're all sitting around thinking, why is silver? Are you doing that? Why is silver struggling so bad? Why is gold struggling so bad? I've been struggling a little bit. I'm honest with you guys. Everybody struggles, right? But silver and gold have been struggling, right? But you know what we're going to get today? 300 thumbs up. I snuck that in there on you, didn't I? It looks like this. You click it with your mouse or press it with your finger. When we get to 300 thumbs up, I'm going to ring. That's it right there, baby. The golden gong. And when I hit it, it rings. You got to listen to this thing. You hit the gong, and it goes for like 10 seconds later. That's the missing piece of the puzzle. The missing piece is investor demand, individual investor demand. I think gold has done okay in that regards, but we still have seen outflows in the gold ETF. Silver, like we talked about earlier, right? Nobody's buying. I talked to Coin Shop Chris, and he tells me about what he hears about sales in the retail. Guys, we are in We are in a bit of a depression when it comes to silver, when it comes to individual investor demand. That will change. That will change. The sun's going to come out again, right? I know it feels like right now, it's like the weather wherever you live, right? It might be like St. Louis. It's absolutely horrific weather, cold, rainy, icy, never ends. It's always gray. That will change, right? The unicorns will come back out, right? Lollipops and all that good, and people will come back into the silver market. Now's the time to be buying silver, Eisenhower, okay? I know, right? And I'm guilty. I keep saying, I'm going to buy some, and I've been kind of holding off. I did buy some a few weeks ago, but then I got to take it to the place where I store it. Anyway, now's the time to be buying silver. Sure, the price, I could be dead wrong, but dollar cost average, because yes, sure, the price, who knows, right? The price could go down to 20. It could go to 18. It could go to 14, whatever, right? It could. But the one thing you do know for sure right now about buying silver as a retail investor is that we've not seen premiums this low in a long time. Guys, and we're going to talk about Costco here in a second. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to think back like 10 months ago. Right now, you can buy American Silver Eagles for $26, $27, $28 each. I got news for you. And I hope you didn't pile in, right? I didn't, but some people were piling in last March and April and paying like $48, $50 each for American Silver Eagles, paying premium. So we can't control the price where it goes, all right? But we do know that the premiums on silver are darn near all-time lows. I'm not trying to sell you anything. You do whatever you want. I would recommend, if you are going to buy some silver or gold, do check out Pembex. Throw them into the mix. I think you'll find they've got the best prices, but you need to figure that out for yourself. That's the missing piece, though, when the investors come back in. That will overwhelm the supply of silver faster than you can say lickety split. There's no doubt about it, okay? Falling yields will drive the gold price to new nominal highs. I said that already. The analyst predicts, okay, I said that already. The analysts believe that after 2 years, this is the ETFs, this is we don't buy SLV, we don't buy GLD. Well, maybe you do, but I don't. Right, the Blackstone ETFs that supposedly buy silver and gold. The analysts believe that after 2 years of declining ETF gold holdings and below average net long positioning on exchanges, increased investor appetite will also be a major contributor to the projected 2024 gold rally. And I'll throw silver rally in there as well. Continued robust central bank purchases along with boosted physical demand on price dips will likely, on price dips, right? When the price dips. Somebody brought this up, boy, got mad at me, but I agree with them. It's true. If we do get $18 silver, back up the truck. Will you be backing up the truck? Let me ask you that question. If you would buy, if silver right now is what, 22? Let's take a quick look. Guys. Hold on. I got to get the technology. Let's take a look at what silver's at right now. Good old silver. Okay, this says $22.32, up $1. So if silver were to drop, all right, now don't get mad at me, because anything can happen. But if silver were to drop to $18 an ounce, and you could buy sovereign coins for $21 an ounce, would you load up the truck? I would load up the truck, okay? I'm saving up some dry powder. If you would buy all in silver, back up the truck at 21. Type 21, okay? I get as much silver if that happened. Wendell says, reversed engaged. Yes, back up the truck, Dave Medcap. Sassy Silver, yes. Blade, yes. I mean, guys, it's, that's the thing. And that's what would happen. CoinShop Chris yells at me about this all the time. If silver goes to $14 an ounce, right? You know what the premiums would be? Imagine if it went to $14 an ounce. How crazy people would be buying. That happened during the C-19 crisis. What was that, 3 years ago now? 4 years ago? Man, I don't know. Would it be 4 years? Anyway, nonetheless, I digress. You couldn't get your hands on. There's something I know I need to do. I promised you guys, but I can't remember what it is. Can somebody remind me? Something about thumbs up and some ritual? But that sounds weird. Anyway, you couldn't get if silver goes to 14 an ounce, you'll be paying 21, 23, 24 per ounce because the premiums will explode. Heck, the premiums on junk silver exploded just 10 months ago. They were crazy high. Okay? I don't know. Right now, sure. Oh, gong. That's right. The gong. Thank you, Craig. Guys, we got 304 thumbs up. I'm going to ring the gong 3 times, and then we're going to talk about some breaking news from Costco that relates to silver. This is a big deal. I know I'm the only guy to talk, but I really think that this Costco situation with precious metals is a big, big deal. Let's ring the gong. We got the 300 thumbs up. Bear with me. From our friend Stu in... Whoa. That did not count as a gong hit. From our friend Stu in New Jersey, who, by the way... Oh, boy. CoinShop Chris gave me a hard time. By the way, for those of you who weren't here yesterday, that is the governor of New Jersey. Well, one of those two is the governor of New Jersey, and he vetoed a bill that would have eliminated the sales tax on gold and silver in the state of New Jersey. Vetoed it, right? Somebody needs to tell him. I think his name's Murphy. I don't know which one's him, though. Maybe you can tell me, the left or the right. Somebody needs to tell him that the founding fathers specifically put in the Constitution that silver and gold are money. Why am I talking about this? Because this gong came from our friend Stu, who lives in New Jersey. I've never been to New Jersey. I've never been to New York. I want to bring my daughters on an airplane, but when I look at hotel rooms, it makes me sick. Anyway, Stu sent us this. We ring this 3 times when we get to 300 thumbs up. We've already got 325 thumbs up. You guys are blowing me away today. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for being here. Up next, Costco. But first, I want you to listen. Tell me if you can hear how many seconds you think it goes after I hit it. I'm amazed. It's probably because this is made out of solid gold. I'm just joking about that. It is super cool. We're meditating. All right. And we have a train whistle when we get to 400 thumbs up. Everybody, get on board. Don't forget about ronsbasement.com. I haven't talked about that a lot lately. We have a website where there's a chat room where you can go 24 hours a day. I was talking to Craig Edmonds last night. He's like, I've been telling people about it during the live stream. So thank you, Craig. Thank you, CoinShop Chris. Thank you to all you guys. But let's talk about what's going. Silver just changed in price. Now it's up 26 cents an ounce. Let's talk about what's going on at Costco. I just find it interesting. Last night, where's my paper? I've got a neighbor. We'll call him Mr. D. Big Mr. D. He's a great guy. Great guy. He works for, anyway, he's in the mining. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, he probably doesn't want me talking about him on my podcast. Yeah, but he's an executive. He's a manager. I don't know, but at a big company here in St. Louis. He sent me a text last night. Here, I'm going to show it to you. About Costco, because he's a big Costco guy. And he knows I love silver. And here it is. Hold on. Bear with me. He said, this was the front page of the app on Costco. Check that out. You see that? I don't know how good the camera is. American Silver Eagles, tubes of 20, right? You have to be a member. But he said it was the front page, like when he opened the app, that was what they were showing, these American Silver Eagles at Costco. I think that is the biggest. I think we're going to look back, right, 3 years from now, because we're going to be here. We're going to look back, and we've got to have higher silver prices. I mean, it's just it has to happen, right? It has to happen. And we're going to look back and say, remember, we were talking about what a big deal this Costco situation is. Costco sold $100 million worth of gold in their most recently reported 3-month quarterly period. In one 3-month period, they sold $100 million in gold coins. I'm going to be crazy interested. To all you new Costco watchers that are joining us, welcome to the basement, because I'm going to be crazy interested to see what the silver numbers look like. I mean, guys, there's a reason why the mainstream media is trying to gaslight us, if that's the right term, to try to convince you now that the economy is great. There's a reason. Right? If the economy really was great, they wouldn't have to be trying to convince us that, eggs are cheaper and gas is 50 cents a gallon less. There's a reason behind all of that. There's a reason why you and I have made the decision, okay? And it's a risk, right? It's a risk. Nobody knows for sure what's going to happen, but we've made the decision to protect our wealth with precious metals, okay? There's a reason why, all right? And that's just the basic fact that there's only so much metal. Don't take a step back. Take a step back here for a second and remember this. All right, there's a finite. There's 2 words that I love. Infinite, infinite is how most people pronounce it, but we'll say infinite, not finite, and finite. Silver and gold are finite. God only put so much silver and gold on the planet. And this is not a religious channel. Mother Nature, God, whatever works for you, only put so much on this planet, okay? Paper money, electronic money, derivatives. There's a reason why John Exter, who worked for the United States Federal Reserve, spent his career writing about the fact that at the end of the day, any day, any time throughout history, silver and gold are the base of any monetary system, currency system, fiat system, whatever you want to call it. It all rests back down on silver and gold. And they never went away, guys, right? When President Nixon temporarily took us off the gold standard in 1971, right? They never went away. The world still valued. The United States didn't dump all the Fort Knox gold into the Chattahoochee River or anything like that. They never went away. And right now, when we look at domestically in the United States, what's going on in this country, monetarily, fiscally, okay, politically, socially, okay, my daughters who are in middle school go to school with people that consider themselves furries. I'll leave it at that. It's crazy. Okay. But when we look at the monetary fiscal system in the United States right now, you do have reason to be alarmed. You do. Okay. No, the sky's not falling. No, but we have reason to be alarmed. When you look at things like 34 trillion, with a T, trillion, and like Don, right? Don the Brain said, a trillion, just so you put this in perspective, sit down for a second. Sit down. A trillion is a million. A million times a million is a trillion. I mean, does that compute? And there's 34 trillion debt that we owe, and 2 trillion more that our government is spending this year than they're bringing in. But this lady, this modern monetary lady says, no, debt is an asset. It shows you how much wealth you have. Like, oh, really? That's interesting. That's never been the case in the history of the world. Okay, all right. And so that's the fundamental finite supply of silver and gold. the domestic situation in the United States, and then just zoom out a little bit and look at what's going on in the world. There's no reason. We know the big fancy Swiss bankers telling us we're going to have higher gold. Okay. We know JP Morgan now is telling us we're going to have higher gold and silver. We know Costco is selling gold and silver, and they got silver on their front page of their app. I don't know, right? And we got a real estate crash. Oh, I got to run through this one really quickly, really quickly. This is crazy interesting. Let me have a drink of water. What? Uh-oh. Bear with me. I'll just tell you what it says. We have $1 trillion in real estate debt that's going to be coming. A $1 trillion, this guru estimated there's $1 trillion worth of losses out there right now in the real estate market. Hey guys, thank you for being here. I will be back tomorrow on behalf of Susie. On behalf of myself, it's a big deal that you join us here in the basement. It's always our pleasure. And I hope that when you come here, you feel welcome. There's some great people that are involved. We want you to be involved with Ron's Basement, and I'll see you tomorrow.